global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Global Happenings Today YouTube channel. Lots is happening around hashtag end bad governance right now. The likes of Falana, Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria, a very top right human rights activist, and of course a lawyer par excellence, is literally dragging the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We're going to find out what he said that is, resonating with Nigerians nationwide. And of course, a lawyer and a journalist have literally dragged also the chief of defense staff over what he said. We're going to give you full details in a jiffy, but before we do that, kindly subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button beside it. You will see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. Now, according to Akino Ola, who happens to be a human rights activist and a lawyer, and of course a journalist, he said, "Dear General Christopher Musa, the chief of defense staff, with due respect, you have no local standing telling the media not to cover protests. Even ones all over the world are covered by journalists, including by our own RMO H0t Osoba, who covered the Nigerian Civil War for Daily Times. So you have no right to tell the media not to cover or give coverage to protesters. Secondly, this is quite unfortunate to a soldier, not a political office holder in the presidency. It is therefore a misnomer for you to veer out of your duties and be telling Nigerians that President Tinubu has just spent 1 year in office and could not have been expected to solve all economic problems within 1 year. Please, General, don't drag the military into politics. Your statement is outside the preview of your responsibility as Chief of Defense Staff. That is the responsibility of presidential spokesmen and politicians. You have no business with politics. When you drop your uniform, which you would surely do one day, you can throw your heart into a political ring. No problem. But as long as you're wearing the military uniform, please stay clear of political talks and face your duty of securing the nation." This is coming from, of course, you should expect that from a lawyer who understands the dynamics of politics. And what did he really say that really caught the attention of the lawyer? The CDS, who made the appeal during a press briefing as of last Friday, said, "For the media, I want to appeal. I noticed yesterday all the stations are hooked up to the occasion. This is not election. Don't give them that coverage," suggesting that the protesters are merely seeking media attention. That was why the journalist and the lawyer decided to lambast him, say, "Oga, face your khaki. Leave us, look, we do our job." Okay, but then let's find out what Femi Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria, literally is telling the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Just remember, just a few hours ago, that's on Sunday precisely, the president was very disappointed. They expected him to address a lot of key issues that the protesters made mention of which unfortunately he just talked about it. Let's find out really what Femi Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria, has got to say. Nigeria is facing a wave of protests with thousands of citizens taken to the street to demand change. The protests, which have been largely peaceful, have been met with resistance from the government. Now, human rights lawyer Femi Falana has called on President Bola Tinubu to address the demands of the protesters. And a statement as at still the same Sunday, Falana criticized the presidential speech delivered earlier that day, stating it failed to address the key demand of reversing the policy of fuel subsidy withdrawal. He urged the government to take concrete steps to address the root causes of the unrest, including corruption and economic inequality. He also praised the protesters for drawing attention to the plight of millions of Nigerians suffering from hunger and poverty. He demanded that the immediate and unconditional release of all arrested protesters, emphasizing that they had committed no criminal offense. The lawyer condemned the repression of peaceful protesters and expressed sympathy for those who have lost loved ones during the demonstrations. He called for an independent inquiry into the killings of protesters and urged the government to ensure that those responsible are brought to justice. Falana also criticized the government's response to the protests, including accusation against youth of being manipulated by frustrated politicians. He cited provocative statements by officials such as Senate President Godswill Akpabio's remark that while you protest, we shall be eaten, and the Vice President Kashim Shettima's description of protesters as idiot. My God. The government has reportedly met with political, religious, and traditional leaders and secured court orders to confine protests to designated areas. However, despite these measures, the protests were conducted peacefully in many states, with incidents of violence primarily instigated by thugs and some overzealous police officers. He highlighted the illegal. He highlighted the illegal and unconstitutional nature of the threat made by Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa to involve the military in quelling the protest. He stressed that the responsibility to manage protests lies with the police and called for a professional and restrained approach. The lawyer urged the President Tinubu to address the protesters' demands, particularly the reversal of the fuel subsidy and withdrawal of policy. He urged that addressing the root causes of the arrest would help mitigate the protest and foster a more stable and just society. These are the words of Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria, saying literally the same thing, just like every other Nigerians out there are saying. I'm wondering, is it really a hackling tax that the president cannot handle? I don't think so. I think this whole thing can end within 24 hours if the president would just put empathy to his speech. Address this. They're very silent. Look, if you're very rich, you won't feel the pain. In fact, if you're wondering why these people even protest, they should understand now. It's just 1 year. If you have food, you are not scared of your tomorrow. You're living in a nice place. You're secured. If you're married, got children, go to the best of schools. So you probably wonder why these people not even patient. But if you have dealt with hunger have done you shaggy. Well, like they say, small madness that follow with hunger that does not have respect. You just discover that your head is mentally deranged, not because you want to be. The hunger is driving your brain. Your brain has entered factory reset. It's only the poor that we relate. The very rich, they can even spill out honey and say it's bitter. Kosowo, kosonje, kosowo. Please, our politicians will understand this, and they should put empathy to their policies. It helps, when they can put empathy to their policies. It makes it a lot more easier, to govern. Because if you don't put yourself in the shoes of the poor man, to the poor masses, you probably won't understand why they're not understanding why you're making those harsh policies. You can always hold your throat and cut your throat when you have more than enough. You can actually use it to watch your weight. But if you don't even have at all, the fear of tomorrow will drive you into the street. And if they don't do something about this, they may likely be encouraging theft. You can't bring down criminality if there is hunger and poverty and starvation in the land. It's no rocket science. It's common sense. If you just marry the two, you will see your solution. Once you can cut down on hunger, on starvation, on poverty, you will work on criminality. The rest is voila. But then again, let's see how the government will attend to this. Let's go wrap it up. Let's meet in our comment section. So have a nice time.
Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze.